I guess I'm a little bit confused about that because the 1200 came from he joined the military, so he had all of that figured out by the military's child support people or whoever does that. And that's what the form should have been sent to you guys saying that the military has all these like rules, regulations, whatever. It's a modified thing, and it was 1200. Um, so I'm confused of why it's not 1200 if that's what I signed.
On the record in the matter of the marriage of Tia McBride and Kyle Keplinger. The DCF appears by and through Miss Hawks. Miss McBride appears in person and pro se. There are no other appearances. I believe this matter was last before the court on August 1 of this year. However, I think it was noted at that time that one of the Zoom links was incorrect, and the matter was continued to today's date so that the parties could be sent additional notice. Ms. Hawks, can you summarize for the court your current position and prayer on this case?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
Sounded like I had an echo. I apologize. So the parties had previously had an order for Mr. Keplinger to pay $1,652 a month. However, it looks like they entered into an agreed parenting plan at the beginning of this year that was signed by Judge Hart in February that modified child support down to $1,200 a month. However, during that time, father had requested DCF review the case for modification. And so we were kind of in the process while all of that was happening. And based on our review, we prepared a child support worksheet that shows that we believe that the guideline amount shows that Mr. Keplinger should be paying $750 a month. I will note that agreed parenting plan that the parties entered into, my best guess is that 1200 is a number that they came together as an agreement, because I do not see a child support worksheet that supports that number. And so the state filed a motion for modification of child support on March 31st. Like you had already stated, we had a hearing previously, but the notice had wrong Zoom information. So at this time, DCF's requesting to modify the child support to $750 a month. That would be effective back to April 1st, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. McBride, do you have anything you would like to say about that proposed modification?
I guess I'm a little bit confused about that because the 1200 came from he joined the military, so he had all of that figured out by the military's child support people or whoever does that. And that's what the form should have been sent to you guys saying that the military has all these like rules, regulations, whatever. It's a modified thing, and it was 1200. So I'm confused of why it's not 1200 if that's what I signed.
Okay. All right. Give me a moment to review the file. I don't remember having seen anything from the military, but let me double check and make sure I didn't miss anything, and I'll come back into the meeting shortly. Thank you. I think that there is, from the court's perspective at least, a couple of important considerations. One, I do understand that those who serve our nation in the military have responsibilities that are markedly different from those of us that are not in such service. And I want to be sensitive that there might be some more information that would be relevant to any final decision in this case. But I also think it's noteworthy that there was an agreement which was signed in February of 2025, where the parties agreed that the $1,200 per month support amount was the correct amount, and the domestic relations affidavit that was relied on in this case as far as consideration of any change of circumstances was actually dated, it appears, December 9 of 2024. Now, I don't know if that's a file date, a date that it was received by DCF on, whether that was a date that was indicating when it was sent out, but it looks like it was at least signed on November 23 of 2024. So it does not appear from the court's perspective at this snapshot in time with the information currently available that there has been a material change of circumstances since the earlier agreed support order was put in place. And so I'm inclined to leave the order as it is at this point in time. However, again, wanting to be sensitive to military service members, I can do one of two things, Ms. Hawks, if it would be your preference to uh, continue this to a date certain so that you could uh, see if another domestic relations affidavit was something that the parties would want to have the court consider, or uh, we can just basically leave the support and other orders in place pending any follow-on domestic relations affidavit or any other requests that the parties may make. Do you have a preference as to which way we should go?
Your Honor, well, I guess first I'd like to confirm if Mr. Keplinger is still an active member in the military, because it appears in our system that we tried to send something to DFAS and DFAS responded with that individual is not known.
Okay.
If
Okay.
no, for a fact, I don't know what happened because I have very little communication, but he was supposed to start basic in March of this year. That's whenever we signed all that, sometime around that time, signed all that paperwork for like child support and all that kind of stuff. And then it got pushed back because he had a civil lawsuit on him, that so he couldn't go to basic because he was getting sued by someone else. And then so he just now went into basic, I think in what is it, September, the middle of August, I think. So he's in basic right now. So as far as I know, he's in basic right now.
Do you have any idea, and I don't know that you should or would, but how long that basic training component
Yeah,
is supposed to
I
last?
do have a document that was sent over to me that kind of states like the dates, I guess, of the basic. I believe it was, I'll have to look for sure, but I'm pretty sure it was um like a 66 day or something like that around there. Train
Okay.
in South Carolina or North Carolina, one of those two right now.
Okay. All right. Well, with that additional information, Ms. Hawks, do you prefer we set this over to a date certain or just take it off docket pending the submission of a new DRA?
Um, Your Honor, my issue is I'm pretty positive I know what Ms. McBride is talking about with that Army regulation. I'm pretty sure it's 608-99, which is what the Army uses. They kind of have their own schedule when they are determining what a service member is supposed to pay prior to court involvement. My issue with that is DCF has an assignment of rights, and our policy dictates that it has to be by the Kansas child support guidelines, not, which would mean not Army regulation. And once the court case is going, I believe that trumps the Army regulation, the court order. So I would prefer at this time to, I guess, maybe push it out after the first of the year so I can keep track of this. I don't want it to get lost, but either way, DCF policy is going to mandate that we have to review this for a
Okay.
modification because the current order does not conform with Kansas child support guidelines.
Well, and I think I wholly understand and agree with that position. I just do think we ought to have a DRA that's on the right side of the enlistment and on the right side of the agreement that was previously signed off on by both parties. So I think that if we're anticipating perhaps circulating a new DRA. I don't know that I have, honestly, and I should have. And it's my shortcoming that I don't have, but I don't have a 2026 calendar. Uh, Miss Jackie, I don't even know if we've set any dates. It looks like the third. Well, no.
I believe it'd be like the 16th, 2nd or 16th.
You want to just set it for the 16th of January, then 2026 for further review?
Yes, Your Honor. And in the meantime, if we decide to withdraw the motion and take that off hearing and kind of restart over, I will let Ms. McBride know. But yeah, right now I would say January 16th to see if we can get updated information. So
Okay, so
Okay,
what
well, that sounds good.
do you mean for any kind of payments for me? Because I literally have gotten like nothing in, I mean, in 3 years. So I'm just,
so
Well, and
oh,
go ahead.
so it does look like back in May when we sent a request to DFAS that came back that he was not known. But if he is in basic now, we can send out another request and see if we can get child support payments going now that he's back in basic.
okay, so none of that stuff has to wait until that first of the year that you guys are talking about, if he's actually active, and then I could actually start getting some payments, correct? Hopefully.
Right. Yes.
Okay.
That should indeed be the case. And basically, like I told you at the front end after reviewing the case, I'm just uh, acknowledging that there's a high value in the agreement that had been struck, but there's also a value in the concerns raised by Ms. Hawks. And I also think it's important that we take into account that maybe the reason Mr. Keplinger isn't present today and able to shed additional light is because he's preparing to defend our nation through the basic training course he's on right now. So I want to make sure that we have a chance. And like I said, I think that if we're talking about changes of circumstances, it might be helpful to know exactly what those will look like after he's passed basic and maybe a little further along in the process.
Thank you, Your Honor.
So thank you. If there's nothing further, we'll continue this to January 16, 2025 at 9 o'clock in the morning, and we'll look forward to seeing each and all at that time. Thank you, Ms. McBride.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.